All right, algebra students, in this video we are going to look at some of the problems from the fractions worksheet that we did. Now, these might not be identical to the ones on your worksheet, but they're the same basic concept. The first problem I want to look at is just converting a whole number into a fraction. So let's just take 4. If you have 4 and you want to convert that number into a fraction, you just write, so 4 is equal to 4 over 1. So if you encounter this, and you will, where the 4 needs to interact with some improper or other proper fractions, you need to first convert it into a fraction so you can work with it. And that's how you do it. All right, so let's use that 4 in a problem. Let's say that you're asked to subtract 3/4 from 4. So we would write 4 minus 3/4. Okay, so step 1 is to get the 4 into fraction form so we know what we're dealing with. All right, so we'll take this step by step. Step 1, we're going to rewrite what we're given as 4 over 1 minus 3 over 4. Just like that. And now we can begin doing some of the things we talked about in class. So the very first thing we need to do is find out what the least common multiple is. And we typically abbreviate that LCM for least common multiple. And I will show you now what that looks like. You'll mostly do this in your head eventually, but if you ever need to take a step back, use this little table I'm going to show you. So whatever order the denominators are in, the denominators are the numbers on the bottom, whatever order they're in, you're going to use that same order in this table. So we'll just write 1 and 4, and then draw you a line. So parents watching, students paying attention here, that's why I need you to have either a transparent compass or a straight edge, because I need you to draw these lines straight. Okay, so now draw you a line like this. And then off here to the left of the first number that you wrote, draw another line like this. And then make these rows like this. And it doesn't have to be an art project, right? Just get the rows down. And then so this is kind of your number off to the left here. This is going to be row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and you could continue all the rows. So how do you fill in these boxes right here? Well, let's do this. What is 1 times 1? 1 times 1 is 1. What is 1 times 2? 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 4. 1 times 4 is 4. Okay, so now let's list all the multiples. So these are the multiples of 1. Let's list the multiples of 4. And I'm going to stop when I get a multiple that matches one of these numbers right here. So 4 times 1 is 4. And I'll stop right there because I have a match. So you're looking for a match, and I've got a match right here. These 4s match up. Okay? So that means that in this problem, your least common multiple is equal to whatever this number is. So this is 4. So in this problem, the least common multiple is 4. Now, that's good information to have. That means we need to turn the denominators into 4. Well, good news is this denominator is already a 4. But now we've got to deal with this 1 right here. So we've got to turn that 1 into a 4. And if you want to know exactly how to do that, you just look down this column right here. And you look, what did I have to do to 1 to make it to 4? I had to multiply 1 by, and then scan down your list, find the 4, and then look to the left. This number right here, I had to multiply 1 times 4 to make it 4. Now for a number like 1, this might seem really, really easy and trivial and possibly pointless, but you'll see how this becomes crucial when these numbers are not so simple. So I need to multiply. I'll use a different color here to make it stand out. I need to multiply the 1, that dot means multiply, by 4. Okay? And because I'm multiplying the denominator by 4, I have to multiply the numerator by 4. Okay, so you must multiply both the denominator and the numerator by the same number, because this number 4 over 4, this fraction, reduces down to 1. And that's important. The only thing we can ever do is multiply a fraction by 1. So that's what we've done here. We've multiplied by 4 over 4. So that's step 1. And then what I do is put parentheses around this so you know I have some work to do right here. All right, let's take this work and do it in a space where we've got some freedom to write. Let's go down here. So what is 4 times 4? 4 times 4 is 16. So we will write 16 over, and then what is 4 times 1? 4 times 1 is 4. So I've turned 4 over 1 into a fraction that says 16 over 4. I haven't changed the fraction because 16 over 4 can be reduced down to 4 over 1. You just, instead of multiplying the top and the bottom by 4, you divide the top and the bottom by 4. You can get back to this original fraction anytime. So I've got this guy taken care of right here. And now we'll put a minus sign, and then we'll just write 3 over 4 because we didn't have to do anything to it. So we'll write 3 over 4. And we put an equal sign. So here is the litmus test for whether you can proceed. Are these denominators right here the same? Okay, are they the same? Yes. So that means we have found a common denominator. And that's really important. If we have a common denominator, we can find the difference between those fractions. And here's the good news. We already know what the denominator of the result will be. And that's 4. Okay? So whatever this is, that's going to go right here. You never add or subtract the denominator itself. You only add or subtract the numerators once the denominator is the same. Okay? If you didn't catch that, please back the video up and watch that again so you hear that in your ears. Now we can subtract 3 from 16 because we've got a common denominator. We are allowed to perform the subtraction. So what is 16 minus 3? Well, let's do the work. 16 minus 3. Okay? 6 minus 3 is 3. 1 minus nothing is 1. So 16 minus 3 is 13, and that goes right here in the numerator position. So your result is 13 over 4. That's good news, and it's news that requires a little bit more work. So we have found what's called an improper fraction. Improper because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. And we need to turn that into a so-called proper fraction because that's how your answers are going to be listed, with proper fractions in the answers. So you have found part of the answer. I mean, this is a form of the answer, but we've got to turn this into a proper fraction. Well, how do we do that? Well, the way we do that is we perform a long division. So I'm going to take this, because I run out of space here, I'm going to take this guy and bring the 13 over 4 back up to the top of the page, right here. So let's just bring the 13 over 4 back up to the top of the page, and we'll deal with this. So now we're going to turn an improper fraction into a proper fraction. And the way we do that is by putting the 13 here and then dividing it by 4. Now let me show you exactly how I want you to do this. First, you ask yourself, how many times will 4 go into 1? Okay, well, 4 doesn't go into 1, so you just move to the next digit. How many times does 4 go into 13? Okay, how many times 4 go into 13? 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, 4 times 4 is 16, so it will only go into 13 3 times. So put a 3 above the 3 right here, and then multiply 3 times 4, and you get 12. Now draw a line and subtract. So 13 minus 12 leaves 1, and then we have to do something. So here's the thing. This is the remainder. All right? And so here's how we do this. 13 over 4 becomes 3, and I'll show you where I'm getting these numbers. Here's where the 3's coming from. The 3's coming from right there. The whole number part of the quotient. That's where the 3 comes from. 3 and 1 fourth. Okay? So, the 1 comes from right here. It's the remainder. So we don't continue dividing, right? We just stop at the remainder, and that's where the 1 comes from. And here's the 4. It comes from right here. This is the 4, and that's where that 4 comes from. Okay, so if you're trying to figure out where these come from, that's where they come from. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video here because I want these videos to be self-contained, and I don't want you to feel like there's too much in one video. Make sure you pay attention to this. I know it might seem simple, might seem trivial to some, but to others, myself included, when I was taking this class in high school, I found these concepts quite difficult. So practice, 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 and you can master this concept. If you have any questions, see me in class. Leave a comment in the video. Send me a message on Remind, or have one of your parents give me a call or shoot me a text. Okay? I promise we'll get you help on this. This is a skill that you will be using pretty much every day. So we're going to master this before we move on. But don't worry, we will do this until you understand. All right? Okay, guys, thank you very much. Please like the video if this was useful to you. Like I said, leave a comment. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you're always alerted to new videos that I release. Thank you.